Hi everyone. For those of you that are getting ready for the Unit 2 external assessment that is happening a few days from now, just wanted to create a video to make sure that you could feel truly ready or prepared for this assessment, and this might be beneficial for those of you that perhaps missed intervention. But even for those of you that managed to attend intervention, there are just a couple of things that are going to be useful if you might have forgotten, or perhaps you forgot about. Anyway, so let me just get straight to it. So the first two things that I want to make sure that all of you have done or have looked at are a series of tutorials that are available on YouTube. Okay, now there's two series specifically that you need to have a look at. Okay, now the first one is basically this one. Okay, from the channel CM Curtis, which you can either just look up this way, or I've made a link for you, which is tinyurl.com/Landau database 1. Okay, so fairly straightforward. Now the reason why I want you guys to go through this, okay, is the fact that first of all, you have the original sample database. So this is the cleaner, the cleaning scenario, and so if you go to show my homework, you'll find the data that you need. So you have the data that you need to import, and you have some tables, the Word file that you need to fill in, and so you have the sample data, and you can follow this tutorial step by step, okay, to give you everything you need to do in Access. Okay, so this tutorial covers every single thing that you need to do in Access. Okay, now obviously you know that there are some additional things that you need to do in Word, like the table specification when it comes to the validation. I mean, obviously you do validation on your Excel file, on your Access file, but you need to actually write on the Word document that you're going to be provided what validation rules you have applied, and so on. Okay, now as I said, everything that you have in here, okay, you need to, okay, and I can't emphasize this enough, you need to know how to do it. Okay, so from the very first video, okay, which is basically getting getting data from your txt file into the database, to the very last video, which is using macros to test your forms. Okay, you need to know how to do all of them, and hence why I feel like this tutorials playlist is so useful, because of the fact that you have the sample data to do things while you watch the video. Okay, it covers everything that you need to know when it comes to the Access part. Now second thing, okay, second series of tutorials, okay, are these ones. Okay, now the negative part about these tutorials is the fact that you won't have the sample file. Okay, so you won't have the file to import. There will be bits where it says download something from Moodle, which is a resource available only to the I'm assuming the student of this teacher. Okay, however, okay, the very good thing about these series of tutorials, okay, is that it does cover everything that you need to do when it comes to the Word documents. Okay, so first, for example, okay, when it comes to the design document, okay, it covers that. Okay, when it comes to the design specification, it does cover it as well. Okay, so those are all things that you need to know how to do, and you need to know how to cover, because obviously you need to fill in that information. Okay, And so that is available by googling or going on YouTube and writing it in there. But again, you can write the second tiny URL link that I've made for you, which is tinyurl.com lambda database 2, and that will basically get you to these series of tutorials. Okay, so again, first series of tutorials, every single thing that you need to do in Access is covered. Second bit of tutorials, same thing, but the negative thing is that you won't have the sample file, so you won't be able to follow on Access step by step. But it does have the validation, naming conventions, form and design specification, the query and design documents, the form and design specification. These are things that you will need to know, and those are the things that you need to fill in into your Word documents that you will be provided during the assessment. Okay, now when it comes to the stuff that you need for this, okay, I've put in show my homework, and you can find it in the assessment that I've given to you, which you just need to basically go and look for the BTEC IT exam prep, and it will be cleaners, cleaning scenario. So you just need to go and look for it over there. Now the other thing, actually, if you go to the cleaning scenario, so let me just go and show my homework. The only bit that is not covered from these two videos is the evaluation. Okay, now I have mentioned this to you guys, or those of you that managed to attend the intervention on Friday. However, for those of you that have missed this, okay, and if you by any chance that I've missed this in the numerous scenarios that I've put, okay, if you go to the BTEC IT exam prep cleaners, okay, and you go to the completed work, okay, which is basically a sample of marked work, okay, and you go to the very end, you will find obviously sample work on that scenario. But the main important thing in this, obviously, on top of everything else that is there, it's the fact that you have an example of an evaluation. Okay, so you have an example of what is expected evaluation, and you can see what is expected and why it's been marked as a full mark evaluation. Okay, apart from this, the only other thing actually is when it comes to saving your files. Okay, so when you need to submit your files at the very end of your exam, you need to make sure, okay, that obviously you follow the instructions in that are given in the document that you will receive. You receive a document like this, okay, and you also receive these amount of files. So you have your sample data, you would have your documents that you need to fill in, okay, and depending on the format, they might be empty, okay, like, well, fairly empty, like these ones, where it basically just tells you what you need to put in. So add screen prints of each of the tables in the design view, showing the table names, field names, and data types only. So it gives you an idea of what you need to put, and here you put the validations, present checks, and so on, and you just basically follow the instructions that are given to you. Or you might get, for example, something like the testing in this case. Okay, it might be that you have to come out with different testing that you need, okay, or it might be that it actually tells you to carry only the testings that are specified in here. Okay, so that depends from assessment to assessment, okay, but it might be either one or the other. Okay, if it tells you which testing you need to carry out, okay, that obviously is the most easy scenario out of the two, because of the fact that you don't have to come up with every single scenario or every single thing that you need to test out, but you just need to follow the instructions. But if that's not the case, then you will have to test following the procedure that I told you during the intervention if you attended it. So perform normal testing of 99% of, not all of, the different text boxes in your forms. Perform erroneous testing of about 40%, and perform extreme testing for about 20% of your different form. Obviously it's easier to perform extreme testing of text boxes that have numbers inside. Apart from that, I think that is it. So do make sure that you prepare yourself enough for this exam. Okay, I can't emphasize more on the importance of the 2 series of tutorials in here, because they're basically telling you what you need to do. Okay, all that you need to do and all that will be different is the scenario. The scenario is when you need to obviously show your understanding, but when it comes to the instructions and what you need to do, these 2 series of tutorials basically do that. They tell you what you need to do. They go through the access part, go through the Word document part. So do make sure that you prepare yourself enough through them.